That was Dib Squad with Couldn't Even, but then could, and finally did. It's 8:36 p.m. You're listening to Fakahatchee Radio. I'm Horace Wexler.
The wind is very expensive.
And cocaine and a crack pipe in the car.
And I said, uh-oh, that doesn't sound good.
The helicopter that's raging back there.
Thank you for tuning in this evening. Here are the headlines currently trending on the FakahatcheeGazette.com website. FakahatcheeGazette.com news, but not the kind Epstein used. Former Florida gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum announced his bisexuality to a television reporter, loudly declaring, "Now anyone can come and get this hot chocolate." Wife of Fauci avoids ouchie, vows she will remain ouch-free. And Halloween canceled, but maybe not, but also, probably. Better eat all that candy you bought either way. You can always get more. But turning to our main story from around the globe. And then we keep turning, and still turning, and oh look, we're back to the United States. America. All right, looking at U.S. news. Today, during a press conference about an infrastructure week that will never come, U.S. President Donald Trump unveiled the latest weapon from the research division of the U.S. Army in partnership with DARPA, highly trained assault cats to battle insurgents in the Middle East. As America continues to slowly remove their troops from the region, this is a shocking new advancement in the war on terror that could become America's next line of defense in battling the ISIS Caliphate and Taliban insurgents. This is Chief Scientist Dr. Victus Claysmeller.
It's a simple system. By deploying these assault cats, we're targeting the legs and balance of these extremists, slowing or in some cases tripping and stopping ISIS completely from reaching their targets. And if they're carrying something, you better believe these assault cats are going to be making them spill it. I just hope that, they're carrying a hot soup.
The assault cats are expected to begin deploying to troubled regions as early as 2021. However, many insiders have implied intel exists that these cats may have already been used, possibly since early March, on Somali targets outside of congressional purview and oversight. We caught up briefly with General Lama Rictoronioni, who's in charge of the program.
Look, each of these assault cats has cost us about $10 million in food, training, and treats, and it is worth every penny, because we're very excited to see these pussies bring down some bad dudes. Also, you should see them in an Afghani sunbeam. You've never seen raw American courage quite so cuddly, except maybe when SEAL Team 6 would get sleepy with soup tummy. That was damned fine American cuteness.
Critics of the program, like people with obnoxious bumper stickers, have pointed out how many schools could have been built with just the cost of one assault cat. A criticism the military has rebutted, pointing out it's hard to kill people with a school unless you physically drop it on a target from 30,000 feet in the air, and that makes it terribly difficult to aim. Maybelline has earned a coveted Brand of the Year award from consumer advocate group WK Reitler for the bold steps it's taken in revamping some of its cosmetics, including the introduction of a new forward-thinking 36-hour mascara. This tops the previous record for a wearable mascara by a whole additional 12 hours, blowing away many of its competitors who just aren't able to go from boardroom to bedroom and back to boardroom and possibly lunch. Here's Maybelline spokesman Terj Connectijaj.
Market research was consistently showing that 24 hours just wasn't long enough. Many of the young women that use our cosmetics work a full day. #LadyBoss. And in the evening, these same women fear being abducted or disappearing. And you can't even file a missing persons report with the police until after 24 hours. We're pleased to give these women another 12 hours to be found in the woods or perhaps a creepy shed somewhere and still look their very best. When they're found in their car after being trapped in a snowstorm and they're crying and hugging their families, we want that mascara not to run, and we want you to ask, was she born with it? Or maybe it's Maybelline.
Not to be outdone, Revlon has announced it's been testing a new cheek contouring rose gold blush that's bulletproof, but has said it still needs a lot more human testing before they're able to roll it out to consumers. Of course, everyone knows Fakahatchee is rich in history, both cultural and political. From being the homeland of a Native American tribe no Dutch people ever bothered to learn the name of before forcing them at gunpoint to leave, to folk artist Rita Aubert, the Queen of Meat, and graffiti legend turned sculptor Shit Pie. And now, in that very same vein, is Plinth Forsythe of the Fakahatchee Museum and Heritage Society with a little piece about our history.
Thanks, Horace. Thank you. Allow me to paint a picture for you of a story. Well, I guess if it's a story, I should probably write it out. The year was 1920. I'm just going to read. I'm going to tell you the story. Stories can be audible too. The year was 1926. Fakahatchee didn't have any paved roads, and what few pathways there were was dirt or mud. Sometimes, we won't talk about what else in that road. This was because we didn't have any cars. We had some horses, but few residents back in 1926 had even seen a car, though they had all certainly heard about how if you made a car mad, it would try to chase you down and then put a pipe inside your butthole and pump you full of machine blood. Our education system wasn't very good then. And it would be some long years later before we would enjoy the cruising culture of the type portrayed in American graffiti. So without cars or an understanding of cars, residents, Fakahatchee would have to invent their own transportation. Fakahatchee was and has always been a town of colorful characters and creative minds. For instance, Lippy Bryden, grandfather to William Bryden of the infamous road, was known to grease up an old hog's hide until it was as slippery as ice, and using a rowboat paddle was known to push himself up and down the muddy streets, hollering at the ladies of the time, and occasionally in the middle of the night when the air is wild, I reckon you can still hear his calls of, "Hey, mama, you a frill cookie pusher? 'Cause daddy don't want no iron pants." He must have really had the intercourse, because he died in 1932 of a mysterious illness everyone called wick drippings. There were dozens of others, and I encourage you to visit the museum to check them out, but none were more popular, probably, than Ashton Froop's personal trains. All aboard! And he spent, I'd say the better part of a year constructing harnesses. Each person who wanted on the train, mainly the incredibly rich, would sit on what's best described as a simple sled or toboggan with an iron hoop at the end. Now, Ashton, Mr. Froop, had heard of an engine from a fella in prison, but couldn't wrap his head around the idea of a machine that was able to move. He wasn't a bright fellow, or a good man, according to the town records that had the reason for his prison sentence listed as sex with a goat. So Ashton, in his racism, reached out and hired several of the strongest Native Americans he could find for his personal train. Well, these, we'll call them pullers, would slowly walk through the town, and the rider would toss a hook to them, which they would latch onto their harness, and would then be pulled along through the town from place to place. Oh boy, I'm sure it was a sight to behold, all these well-dressed straw motor hat-clad businessmen commuting to and from their foreman jobs at the factory, waving hello to each other. Now this, like all of every little second of history, is incredibly racist. Oh, how racist it was. But what's fascinating is many of these men pulling these personal trains, these Native Americans, were paid quite well for their toils. It was honest work. They needed strong men, and they were treated well. But they had been saving up bit by bit, so by the time 1931 rolled around, many of these pullers, these were smart men too, not just strong, but incredibly smart. They had gone north and purchased actual automobiles, actual cars, which they brought back, and then they would drive around with the residents attached to the back, still via rope to the frame. And because these were cars, not just them pulling it, the wheels would spray these rich folk in the face with unpacked horse dung and mud from the road. And these rich folk came to be called shit eaters. Usually because they were terrible assholes, but Also because the dirt and shit from the road would paint their teeth brown. That was until William Bryden, the very same William Bryden, finally said enough and invented the mud flap. And that is how Fakahatchee's sports team became the Fakahatchee Mud Flaps. Go Mud Flaps! Back to you, Horace.
Huh, wow. That is not for one hot second where I thought that story was going. History is full of twists and turns, huh? All right, thank you very much, Plinth Forsythe. If you'd like to learn more, the Fakahatchee Museum and Heritage Society is open 3 days a week from 11 to 2. All right, and now turning to local news. When news breaks, we're there. William Bryden Avenue has become increasingly dangerous. Street dust kings continue to mark their territory. The owner of The Bulge, a local brewpub, has accused the dust arson after a suspicious fire broke out there last evening. A self-appointed spokesman for the Dust King has argued that they were too busy doing something with cool people.
82 degrees north-northeast, 82 degrees south-southeast. Frequency clarity at 78%. Accelerator is at 1 hertz and climbing to target. Estimated attenuation 91%. SPL meters register 20 dBs and climbing.
However, several different known members of the Dust King were photographed and videotaped by themselves and others while carrying large, seemingly heavy containers of gas.
Salinity chambers, injections levels wavering at 14% above control. Salinity levels locked at 15% holding. Accelerator is at 47 hertz and climbing. Directional adjustment 30 degrees north-northeast. SPL meters register 179 decibels. Frequency clarity at 92%. Estimated attenuation 32%. Accelerator is at 1 kilohertz and climbing. Subject is secured in chamber. Frequency clarity.
And it's turtle racing, a popular pastime here in Fox.
Accelerator at 400 kilohertz and locked. Frequency clarity at 94%, check 93%. Awaiting input. Order given. Saline injectors flushed and pumping. Estimated attenuation 12%. Full screen, Marconi has fired. Clarity at 90%. Attenuation is at 32%. The receiver's on, but nobody's home. Go to code orange. Shut down injectors and decrease wave acceleration.
Hell, what in the ever-loving fuck was that? You heard that, right?
Yeah, I think it was even louder out here.
Holy shit. Oh my god. Go look out the window. Go look out the window right now.
We're still on the air.
Okay. Okay, just go look. All right. If you're still with me and your ears weren't just, I don't know, blown off your head entirely, there's just been, I can only describe it as like a tremendous screaming across the sky. I heard it inside of the booth. My producer heard it as well. I don't really know how else to explain what it sounded like. I would guess everyone heard that was within 50 miles of Fakahatchee. Sorry, I'm shaking. It was almost like a jet, but without the roar or what you'd expect a rocket to sound like if it flew over, but didn't explode. So I'm looking through the glass out here, and I'm looking down the road and out the window, and everything from the south toward the Shoney's, north towards the Jefferson roundabout seems to just be absolutely coated in red. Under the streetlights, the air looks almost pink. I don't know if this is some sort of chemical attack or shit. I should not have made my producer go out and look if that's the case. Okay, obviously I have no further details at this moment. I'm trying to make sense of this, just like maybe...
Hey, I think it's blood?
What?
Yeah.
Okay, my producer says it's blood. Obviously, it seems a little crazy, but we can't... Don't give me that look. we can't rush to conclusions. We're just trying to explain everything that we think we may have seen as eyewitnesses here. The story obviously is probably going to change. Obviously, we'll need some experts to weigh in as well. I don't know. We'll try to reach out to some government officials in the area and see what answers we can get. Maybe the NOAA. I don't know, NASA. Who do you call when the air is screaming in pink?
Horace, we're still on the air.
Right. I hope if you're listening, you're staying safe. Don't panic. I'm starting to see some flashing lights outside. I think the sheriff's department is starting to make it on scene. Okay. Shit. It just seems like super weird to just like play some music now. But we're gonna keep trying to unpack this and get some answers, and hopefully we'll have some updates on my show Night Drive tonight, starting at 12:55. We're gonna go to an ad, and then I guess we'll be back with some music, but we'll definitely break in with any sort of answers we get as we get them.
We should play It's the End of the World by R.E.M.
Yeah, we're not playing that.
Too late. I've queued it up already.
Fakahatchee Radio. Still American for now.
Hi, I'm Robard Crumbler, and I want to give your moom a kiss to help her celebrate Mother's Day. Cook up a nice meal for your baby feeder by bringing home a coned pickle whiffle. It's got that pork flavor your mouth says not to, just $3.66 an ounce. Your nip smuggler trying to lose some weight, she'll plan a sloppy one on you for some crispy green teeth twine, now in regular and extra flavorless, just $2.22 a graboid. The Mexicans have something they call zabor, so treat your mama cedar to a bag of chuchambres with honey mustard diddles. Now just 99 cents. Doesn't have to be Mother's Day for great prices. You can always save on returned items like open shell eggs, just $3 a scoople. Crumbler Farms, we're the only grocery store with an adjacent airport.